What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the DFS DOSE YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Joey, and what we do, we talk about the Draftkings main slates every single week. If you're interested, we release 2 podcasts per week. One is out right now where we recap the entire NFL Week 5 slate. We talk about cash games, we talk about GPPs, and some interesting stats. You can find that link below in the description. In this video today, I will be going over my cash game lineup specifically and one of my high finishing tournament lineups from NFL Week 5. And the goal with this video is just to talk about my process on one of the highest scoring cash weeks that we've seen in recent memory and why I feel like cash games still have an edge. If you like what you see, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're at 285 subscribers, so help us try and get to 300. And if you like this style of content and if you want to see more of these recaps, leave a like on the video, leave a comment down below. Tell me if you want to see more of these. This is like a one-time video, but I could do it every week if you guys want. So without further ado, let's take a look at my cash game lineup from NFL Week 5 on Draftkings. All right, I have my cash game lineup on the screen. As you can see, I ended with Trey Lance, Damian Williams, Derrick Henry, CeeDee Lamb, Davante Adams, T. Higgins, Ricky Seals-Jones, Alexander Mattison, and the Washington defense. I felt like this was a pretty straightforward week in terms of cash. There were 2 to 3 quarterbacks in play: Trey Lance, Daniel Jones, or Kyler Murray. In terms of the running back position, I thought there was 4 running backs in play, the 3 that I played, and Leonard Fournette. Wide receiver was pretty weak in my opinion. CeeDee Lamb and Keenan Allen, I thought there wasn't really much of a difference between them. I felt like Adams was obviously a must play, and we'll touch on that in a bit. And then you were paying down at your wide receiver 3 position to one of Kadarius Toney, Laviska Shenault, Jalen Waddle, or T. Higgins. And then at tight end, we're just punting anytime we get the opportunity. So Ricky Seals-Jones was the best punt option in my opinion. But from an overall Week 5 perspective, I think this will go down as one of the ultimate prove-it weeks. And what I mean by prove-it week is prove to me that you know who the best plays are and can you play those guys in one lineup. And there were 3 must plays in my opinion: Derrick Henry, Davante Adams, and Alexander Mattison after we got news that Dalvin Cook would be inactive for this game. If you didn't play one of these 3 guys in your cash game lineup, you really should reevaluate your process and the information that you're consuming on a weekly basis because something is wrong. Derrick Henry, was a stone lock in my opinion at 9,000 with his newfound pass game role in this Titans offense. He ended up being 62.8%, so about 37% of the field said, nah, I'm not playing Derrick Henry. That's how you know there's still an edge in DFS. Davante Adams, as you can see in this $25 massive single entry double up, was 51%, so almost half of the field faded Davante Adams. And then Alexander Mattison, who opened up after the Dalvin Cook news at 5,500, was one of the best plays on the slate in a game where the Vikings had the highest team total out of every single team in the NFL at home against this abysmal Detroit Lions defense. If you didn't lock in Alexander Mattison at 5,500 after that news came out in every single one of your lineups, you are doing something wrong. You're either not paying attention, you're not at your computer, I don't know what you're doing, but you have to fix that leak if you did not play Madison. And about 40% of people didn't, which just blows my mind. And after you locked those 3 guys in, I think it was just a lot of 1v1s or 2v2s that ended up not really making much of a difference. I personally did prefer Leonard Fournette over Damian Williams as my RB3, but in this build specifically, I had the cash to get up to Damian Williams. I felt like his role was more guaranteed with only Khalil Herbert, taking touches away from him, and he had the pass game and the goal line role. He ended up getting 16 points. Leonard Fournette ended with 20, so you lost a couple points there. And then CeeDee Lamb Keenan Allen, I thought, was a discussion. CeeDee Lamb managed to beat out Keenan Allen by a couple points. From a target perspective, Keenan Allen was a better play, but I wanted to be in on the CeeDee Lamb bounce back game. He could have had another long touchdown had, the wide receiver who threw the ball, Cedric Wilson, I believe, had he thrown it to CeeDee Lamb over Noah Brown. They were both wide open on that trick play, and he ended with 18 points. It could have been a better day, but from a cash game perspective, I thought both were fine, and this build specifically dictated I play CeeDee Lamb. And then the wide receiver 3 spot I thought was a toss-up between T. Higgins, Laviska, Jalen Waddle, Kadarius, Tony, and I like Tony. I liked him a lot, and we'll touch on him when I go over my GPP lineup here shortly. But T. Higgins in cash coming off of the shoulder injury, I thought he was okay. As you could see, he was 12%, so not a lot of people played him. He ended up getting there, 10 points. I'll take that all day from, a 5K wide receiver. It's not really about him. It's about what playing him allowed me to get in my lineup. It allowed me to jam in Devontae Adams. It allowed me to jam in Derrick Henry and Alexander Madison, which they scored over 100 points combined. So when that happens, you're just not going to lose no matter who you play. But I thought he was a little bit better than Laviska Shenault just because of the team environment and the game environment in general. The Jaguars are on the precipice of collapse, so I didn't want to play Laviska Shenault. He ended up scoring like 8 points, so a little bit less than T. Higgins, so won that 1v1. And then Jalen Waddle, who I thought was in play after the Devontae Parker news was in play. Just thought the Dolphins were going to get rolled in this spot. Didn't really have much faith in Jacoby Brissett as I do Joe Burrow. So that was kind of my thinking behind going T. Higgins. And then at tight end, I'm just looking to punt every single week. Like, if I could get a $2,500 player, as we got with Ricky Seals-Jones, who's going to play 90+% of snaps, I don't care what team he's on. I don't care what quarterback is throwing him the ball. I'm jamming him in cash games 10 out of 10 times just because you get that salary flexibility by playing a $2,500 tight end. And, he ended with 9 points, and that's about as good as it's going to get, right? He had 3 end zone targets that didn't get converted. He could have had a much better day, and I felt like he was the best tight end play on the slate, and it worked out. Ended up with 179 points, as you can see, and had a profitable day in cash games. And like I said, this was just a prove it week. If you didn't play Devontae Adams, Derrick Henry, or Madison, I will repeat myself. You have to really reevaluate what you're doing and make sure you listen to the DFS DOSE podcast, man. We literally give out who's going to be chalk, who's going to be high owned. We give out the best plays for free. Not everybody else is doing that. And I know we don't have a lot of subscribers, which is whatever. Like, I'm not worried about the subscriber count, but we are giving out this information for free. We literally give out valuable information that others charge hundreds of dollars for free. So make sure you listen to the podcast. Make sure you follow us on Twitter if you want to stay updated on how to just overall become a better DFS player. All right, transitioning into just a quick GPP review. This is a team that I ran in the 30K triple option, which was a $3 buy-in, 11,890 entrants, so a large field tournament, 3 entry max. And this was the lineup that I ran: a Brady double stack with Evans and Godwin with Gesicki on the bring back. I ran Alexander Madison. I locked him into 100% of my lineups. After the Dalvin Cook news, I correlated him with the Vikings defense. Then I ran Ezekiel Elliott in a Kadarius Toney mini stack, secondary stack, whatever you want to call it, and then a Jamar Chase one-off. Ended up finishing 22nd, as you could see on the bottom of the screen. Won $75 off $3, and I was 22 points out of first place. And, this lineup would have won a larger buy-in tournaments, higher dollar buy-in tournaments, whatever you want to call it, which is unfortunate that I didn't play in those. but it's like, would I have played this exact lineup in that? I don't know. I make about 15 to 20 lineups a slate, so I doubt I would have got onto this line, but it's just interesting to look at your tournaments and see what you could have done better. And in hindsight, I honestly don't think I would have changed much. I loved the Brady stack. We talked about it on our Saturday stream. The Bucs wide receivers were going to come in at lower ownership just because of the players that they were around. So I was fine going with Evans and Godwin, and then Gesicki I thought was one of the best tight end plays for tournaments. In my opinion, maybe at 18%, if I knew he would have been that chalky, I wouldn't have played him. I would have just went somewhere else. And the cumulative ownership on this lineup is a little bit high because, I played a chalky Madison, 41%, played Chase, who was kind of chalky, Tony was kind of chalky. So I would have differentiated at tight end, but it's fine in hindsight. And then the running back position, I was locking in Madison no matter what, and then, correlate that with an 8% Vikings defense. Thought that was great. Zeke and Kadarius Toney both were phenomenal plays. I just figured that when the Cowboys get up, they want to run the ball. And this was a good spot for the Cowboys to do that. They were playing a Giants offense that was without Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, Andrew Thomas, their best offensive lineman. So I thought the Cowboys were going to get up, and, they did. Zeke ended up with 2 touchdowns, hit the bonus, 28 points, great at 7K. And then Kadarius Toney was one of my favorite plays. We talked about it on the stream, 32 points. He could have had more. I was sweating it a little bit, just trying to get a higher finish, win some more money. He ended up getting ejected, which is whatever. But I thought that mini stat correlation wasn't going to be too high owned. It kind of was, but I'm still fine with it. And this ended up being a great tournament lineup. And, I've had 2 good tournament teams in back-to-back weeks, have finished in, the top 50 in both weeks so far. And I could just feel a bink coming in. Just from an overall GPP strategy, I think you want to just play contrarian, right? The 2 best stacks on the board were 2 of the least owned stacks in Tom Brady and 2 of his wide receivers, specifically Mike Evans and Antonio Brown, and then Justin Herbert with Mike Williams and Austin Eckler. That double stack went absolutely nuclear. I didn't have any, which is unfortunate. I was kind of down on that game personally from a GPP perspective, but I still got different in this tournament. Still, got 17% cumulative ownership between Tom Brady, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin, and I'll take that all day long on a team that's passing at the highest rate in the NFL. So that's kind of the stacks that you generally want to be aiming for, is those low owned, high upside stacks. Just if they go off, you're separating from the field, and you can play some chalky pieces in your tournament lineups, like Madison, obviously stone chalk 41%, but I still think that was 60% less than what he should have been. He should have been 100% in every single contest on DraftKings this week. So, I'm fine with this lineup. I hope that you guys took something away from this video. It's just a quick little recap of my cash game, of my tournament lineup, and that's going to be it. If you guys enjoyed it, like I said, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll be back on Wednesday, where I will talk about some of my favorite stacks for week 6. We got an interesting slate coming up, 10 games. Bye weeks are starting to happen, so that's going to be fun. And then new podcast will drop Thursday, where we break down the slate from a cash and GPP perspective on the DFS Dose on all podcast platforms. Make sure you check that out. Link below, down in the description. I will see you guys on Wednesday. Hope you guys ran hot, won some money on DraftKings this weekend. Let's go. Let's make some money. Let's have a good week. See ya.